This is part 2 of how I planned my wedding. And if you haven't already watched how I planned my wedding part 1, go ahead and check it out. I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. It is a lot of information, so let's get right into it. I wanted to start out by saying Meech and I got engaged November of 2017. We were engaged for a year until I started becoming more serious about planning our wedding. I want to be honest, I was dreading planning our wedding because it's such a big responsibility and you just don't really want to dive into it because you just know that there's so many moving parts with it and family is involved and you gotta take into account people being able to travel or being able to make it. It's definitely something that I wasn't excited for, to be quite honest, and you also have to think about who's going to be in your wedding party, and that was easy for me, but it was very difficult for me because of course you think of like your siblings as no-brainers to be in your wedding party, and then sometimes you think like, okay, but what about like who's going to be the maid of honor and like who's important enough to even be in my wedding party. And I now have to match how many groomsmen there are, which ended up not even being the case. Meech had way more groomsmen than I had bridesmaids because like who really has that many friends? So got the ring, finally dealing with his mom paid off. Just kidding. Took a year to start planning. We started really diving into how much things are going to cost and what are these things that we have to start choosing. It was like insane. Like it was scary for me. Let me just give you guys an overview. An average wedding in the United States costs around $33,900. So people are really dropping bands, huge savings on weddings, and that is not what we wanted to do. We wanted to have a very simple wedding on a budget. However, we wanted it to be beautiful. So like I referenced in our previous video, I wanted it to be bougie, but on a budget. And I feel like I achieved that. I feel like there's definitely things that I missed, and there's definitely things that I would have done differently, but I will state that at the end of the video. So first and foremost, we chose our ceremony location. Our ceremony location and the venue. So we had to think, where did we want to have our ceremony? Did we want it in the area that we live in, or do we want it in like a prettier area near water? We came down to choosing a chapel. For some reason, something in my heart told me that we aren't going to do it traditional, and we didn't have our ceremony in a church. I did not want to have our wedding in a church for some odd reason. I just felt like it would have been too traditional, and I wanted to keep it a little bit more, I don't know, basic. I'm happy with our choice with the chapel because it's a beautiful chapel. It's very simple and it had beautiful features to take wedding photos after the ceremony. It also had a groomsman suite as well as a beautiful bride suite. And I think that it was a nice touch to our wedding photos. We then had to choose our reception venue, and it was obviously separate from the chapel, and that was in a beautiful location, and we were happy with what we had chose. We did not choose to have a separate catering company cater our wedding. We chose the reception venue to be our in-house caterer. It was cheaper. we chose to have our wedding on a Friday, which was obviously a lower rate per head. So it was a nice package deal to have an open bar. It did also include strolling champagne and hors d'oeuvres for when our guests arrive before us, before their wedding party. After we got the hard part of choosing our venue, Meech went to Men's Warehouse to choose his tux. I then chose my wedding dress, and when I tell you that wedding dresses are so expensive, and I applaud everyone that was able to purchase an expensive wedding dress. When I say expensive, I'm talking $5K and up. I don't know who has that type of money sitting around for a dress, but we did not, and I refused to spend that much money. I had a budget of $500. My boss at the time, she had referred me to this beautiful bridal store, and so I took that reference and I went there, and she was right. I met the owner, I tried on several dresses, and they were beautiful dresses. They were huge, beautiful dresses, and I found like a trumpet style to be my dress. I thought mermaid was gonna be my dress. I don't think I have the body for a mermaid style dress. If you are like a nice, you know, Coke bottle, a mermaid style dress is for you. I don't even think the dress that I was trying on was really my body style. I really need to hit the gym. But the owner had ended up saying, "You look so beautiful in this dress. I will give it to you for $500, even though it's a $1,500 dress." And my cheap ass literally was like, "Let me think about it. I'm gonna go home, talk to my husband about it, and I'll let you know." We got home and I talked to Meech about it, and he was like, "Okay, well then get the dress." And I was like, "But I don't want to spend that much money." I am so cheap, guys. Like when it comes to furniture, and when it comes to things that I feel like you're supposed to spend the dollar on because the quality needs to be there, I'm okay with that. Like I will spend a lot of money on pieces of furniture. I will spend a lot of money on mattresses. I will spend a lot of money on headboards. I will spend a lot of money on my home decor. But what I won't spend my money on is articles of clothing. So you will never catch me wearing Gucci, anything that is more than $100, because boo-boo, I'm cheap. The clothes don't wear me. I wear the clothes. I was like, I don't know, like that's still expensive to me. Like we still got other things to pay for. Like I just think maybe I can find a better dress for cheaper. It took me a long time to find a wedding dress, to the point where I was just like, I don't even, at this point, I can make my dress. Like I don't even care anymore. Like, anyways, long story short, I ended up ordering my dress online, and it wasn't from some fancy boutique. It wasn't from David's Bridal. I bought my wedding dress from Fashion Nova. I bought my wedding dress from Fashion Nova, and girl, before you judge me, Fashion Nova has really nice white dresses that could pass as wedding gowns. So then I had to go ahead and start choosing my bridesmaids, and like I said, Meech had already had an idea who his groomsmen were going to be, and we did have to start sending our invites. I did get like bridesmaid invitation cards from like Target, like, "Will you be my bridesmaid?" And Meech just basically, I think he just texted his friends and was like, "Do you want to be my groomsman?" I think that's how it went down. I'm not quite sure. It's all a fog. Also passed out bridesmaid and groomsmen like little gifts during our ceremony rehearsal dinner. So that was another cost. And we also had to start planning our bachelorette and bachelor parties. Meech went to Chicago for his, and I enjoyed my bachelorette party downtown Detroit. And we ended up doing it was the Rolling Pub downtown Detroit, and ended up being really fun. So that was nice. It did occur on a random Tuesday, but that was great because there was no traffic and there was not other crazy drunk people in the bar. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise. PSA, Meech and I hate attention on us. We know that we get attention. We understand that we are pretty people, but we do not like all the attention on us. So choosing to do a wedding with all of our friends and not eloping was a big deal for us. I much have rather have done it without everyone, and Meech definitely would have as well, but we wanted to incorporate our families. But we are really not about that look at me life. Like, we just aren't. You would think it, but we're definitely afraid of too much attention. I forgot to mention, I planned our engagement party. That was another chunk of money too. Then I had to plan the ceremony dinner. The ceremony dinner was the dinner after our ceremony rehearsal. That was another chunk of money. We had to choose our pastor or our officiator. I chose my cousin to officiate our wedding. It was such a kind gesture of him to offer, and I love him 1,000 times for officiating our wedding. And it was so special to have a member of our family actually marry us. We then had to start choosing who was going to DJ the wedding, and Meech actually went to school with someone that ended up being becoming a DJ, and we chose him, and we're glad that we did because he kept our music young and lively, and the DJ and the MC that we chose did a great job. We then had to choose someone to do our cake, and I chose to do a 2-tier cake as well as 3 dozen cupcakes. My good friend has a good friend who is a baker, and he does phenomenal cakes. We were happy with his quality, so we chose him, and it was at a fraction of a price of what buying a wedding cake from an actual wedding cake shop, because wedding cakes can range from like $700 up. So I think we ended up paying like $275 total for cake, for a 2-tier cake and 3 dozen cupcakes for a wedding. That's unheard of because that stuff is expensive. If anyone has already had a wedding and you start adding up those numbers, you will see. We also had to make sure we had wedding favors, which I ended up just ordering like little satin bags with like our wedding date, and it said hugs and kisses from the Mr. and Mrs. and I filled it with Hershey Kisses. Those were our wedding favors. Like I said, I made all of my wedding bouquets by hand. I made all of my wedding centerpieces by hand. I bought all of the faux flowers and the vases and the foam balls from Hobby Lobby. Those added up, you know. You think that it's cheap, but it's not. You know, it was a few $100s, but and it was a lot of work. But I ordered the boutonnieres from Amazon, and I also, what else? I ordered most of the decor, my wedding decor from Amazon. So I got a bunch of faux leaves. I also bought a shit ton of white tea light candles, as well as white glass cupped candles from Walmart and Dollar Tree. When I tell you, if you like go online and try to buy these vases and you try to, or you go to an actual florist and try to find real flower centerpieces, you are coming out a stupid amount of money. Your wedding is only like 6-7 hours long. Boo boo, it does not need to be that expensive, seriously. Another thing was like planning the seating chart. Like you legit know who you should seat together. Like I legit had a table of just my white friends, like no lie. Had like a table of just my coworkers, because like I knew that this was gonna work in this way. Meech's family, like he has the Wilsons. I put all of the Wilsons on one table. There were only a few of them I couldn't cram on one table, so they flowed into some of my family. But I knew, like, you have to think about who's gonna sit well with each other. So that was another project. We were planning our honeymoon. We planned on going to Tulum, Mexico for our honeymoon of December 2019, which later we had to cancel because I became pregnant August of 2019. So things don't go as planned. Tips is that I booked on Friday for a lower rate. Make your own centerpieces and bouquets. It will save you a lot of money. Be sure to choose affordable bridesmaid dresses, because these are dresses that these ladies are coming out of their pocket for. I chose $55 bridesmaid dresses from Etsy. My regrets for our wedding. I wish that I hired a videographer. We hired a photographer, and I was trying to be cheap again and not hire a videographer. And I was like, oh, you know, pictures say 1,000 words. Why would we need a videographer? But you know what? That would have been really beautiful if we had footage, like actual video footage, and not the footage off of people's phones, like video footage, well put together with background music, and made our day look beautiful, so that Meech and I can look back at it years and years and years later from now. So I really wish that we incorporated a photo booth. I mentioned it to Meech when we were planning the wedding, and he said no, it's okay. And I went along with it because I'm cheap, and I really wish we would have had that added activity for our guests, because besides the music and a bunch of people being forced to be around each other that barely know one another, I mean, that would have been a great addition to our reception, and it didn't happen. I regret choosing a Friday to do our wedding. We chose a beautiful reception venue, but on Fridays, the hooligans choose Fridays to do their wedding receptions as well. I also wish that I had my hair down. I guess my hair was like technically down, but I wish that it was like more like Hollywood style wavy and just down instead of like being pulled back, because I have such a round face, and I feel like I would have liked if I had like a bang and it framed my face better. I think it would have went well with my dress. I also wish I wore a strapless dress. As you guys can see, like I like wearing strapless shirts and strapless dresses already. I do regret planning my own wedding. I wish that I had hired a wedding planner, because I didn't truly get to enjoy my wedding because I was my planner and I was making sure that everything went as planned. I forgot that we got a party bus. You got a party bus, and I wanted to make sure that I can fit at least 16 people on there. That was another expense, and it turned out to be nice. I'm so cheap, because like I think it was like for an extra $300 I could get like a bigger bus, but I was like, no, it's okay. And I got like a bus, and like barely everyone could fit. Our whole wedding party could barely fit, but we made it work. We made it work. Last but not least, my last regret is that we didn't do a destination wedding. Like I said, we wanted to basically elope, but we were considering our family, and I didn't want to rob Meech's mom of not being in her son's wedding. So although I really wish we would have done a destination wedding, but it was nice to know that they got that experience. Meech's grandmother was there, so it was nice, and most of my family was there, and so I guess it was a good turnout. The total cost for our wedding, $13,200. Keep in mind, like I said, the average wedding cost $33,900. We were way under that number. So we did a really great job at budgeting, and that's $13,200 that we didn't really want to spend. I mean, we could have went on way better vacations and done way funner things with that money, but we fed 80 something people. Yes, we had a small wedding, and you know, we had a fun little 6-hour day, and Meech and I got married. The day was worth it. Was the day worth 13 grand? I mean, sure, but I would have preferred going on like a bomb ass trip. That would have been live. I'm gonna leave you guys with some good ideas of where to have your wedding, whether it's the reception or the ceremony site, but I would say the beach. I would have loved to have my wedding at the beach. Community center off the water, there are plenty of those. Parks, they have little man-made lakes too, but the parks are a beautiful option. Downtown location with beautiful architecture, that was one of the options that I was considering, having ours at the pier in downtown Detroit. There's like this beautiful industrial modern reception area above the water that I considered, but it was too expensive for my taste. We didn't choose it, but you know, it was definitely a contender. If you like the rustic look, barns or country clubs are great options. I used to be a venue coordinator in my previous job, so I've seen a lot of beautiful golf clubs and country club locations where you can have like a really beautiful wedding. And so I hope that this helped you guys. I hope it gave you guys some type of idea for when you start planning your own wedding, or you've already had your wedding and you're just comparing it to my sad wedding. I'm just kidding. Please leave some comments down below about how you guys feel, or if you guys are engaged. Let me know. I'm curious to see. Also, make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.